What do you want to be? Where do you want to live? What do you want out of your job, out of life? That's a question that we're all faced with quite often. These are all questions that we're faced with. How many of you right now are going to school? Okay, so most of us in this room. Now I want you to ask yourself, why are you going to school? What is the purpose? We all have our reasons, whether it's to gain an education, to get that piece of paper that says you're qualified, to make money, or simply because your parents told you so, because it's the right thing to do. Whatever the case might be, we all have our reasons. I didn't know a lot of my reasons up until I ran into a man in the middle of Nordstrom Rack. This was about 5 or 6 months back. His name was Tom Barber. His title, life coach. Now I didn't know that at first, but as he started talking, he kind of let me know what he did in life. Well, after I asked him, actually, it was pretty funny. It was a chance meeting. Surprised he saw me. Actually, I was wearing a camouflage shirt. And that's actually what brought up the conversation. He was a hunter himself, enjoys the outdoors, and he just brought up a conversation about my shirt. I admired his daring, his brave, courageous attitude in approaching a total stranger just to strike up a conversation. But as Tom and I started speaking, we soon found out what the goal was. It was to get to know each other, for him to get to know me. He wanted to know where I wanted to live. That was his first question. Where do you want to live when you get older? That was a very off-putting question to me. I didn't know the answer to that. So my answer was, wherever my job takes me. And I started thinking about that. Well, I don't know where I want to live. And he had several other questions to that. What do you want to be? What are you going to school for? All these different questions that he posed to me. I didn't know the answer to a lot of them. Now Tom, he let me know he was the life coach, and I thought that was interesting, so I started to ask him a little bit more about what he does. And he says he takes younger people like myself, and he coaches them on whether it's school, job. He helps them start their own jobs or start their own careers, start their own businesses. And I was very fascinated by this. We went on to speak about early childhood education. And from the time that we're all little, we're trained, I guess, if you will, to do, really to conform. Just to go to school, to get education, to get the grade, really, I guess. We do homework to get the grade, to get that A on the piece of paper. But from that early childhood stage, we don't generally know what we want to be. You know, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a lot of different things. But as I grew up, those ideas and those dreams changed. And really, I didn't know what I wanted to be as soon as I got out of college. So, as Tom started talking to me about all these different things, he started pointing out all these different subjects that were very interesting to me, like entrepreneurial ideas, people who work for themselves, people who invent something and then really make a life out of that, make a living out of that. And I started thinking about it. That's what I want to do. I want to do something that I love, something that I have passion in. So I started thinking about it, and as he taught me about a few different people here now in this current stage or current place in time or in the past, he started talking to me about people who have changed the world, people who really have worked for themselves, but who also didn't have a lot of ideas of what they wanted to be or where they wanted to go. A lot of these people didn't even have an education. He brought up Abraham Lincoln. We all know that Abraham Lincoln only had 1 year of formal education. Now, I'm not saying don't go to school. I think an education is very important. What I'm saying, and is what Tom taught me, know what you want to do. Have a plan, have a life plan. Go, have a plan on where you want to end up. and have a plan on what you're going to do throughout life from here on out to get yourself to that end goal. He also talked to me about a few other people that we all know, very influential people. Henry Ford, for instance, the billionaire inventor who made a car brand into a multi-billion-dollar industry, changed the way we travel, really. Also, you all might know Milton Hershey. He was the founder of Hershey Candies. Very influential. Henry Ford had no college. Milton Hershey had a 4th grade education, all the way up to that point. You might ask yourself, how did these men become so successful? I ask myself that. What did they do? What was different in them that I don't have? I think the answer is simple, really. They had a dream. They did what they wanted to do. They were their own boss. They didn't conform, or they didn't get the grade just to get the grade. They didn't do the work just to get the grade. And I thought that was very interesting. Tom Barber, that chance meeting in the middle of Nordstrom Rack, it went on for the better part of 2 or 3 hours. And we just talked about everything, about inventors, about people who are changing the world. And I'm not saying that I'm going to create something that's going to change the world, or that you all should do something that changes the world. But the point is, do something that you love. Have a plan. Have a plan from here until 50, 60 years from now. Where do you want to end up, and what are you going to do to get yourself to that point? Be your own boss. Don't conform. That's the point of this conversation that I had with him. You might ask yourself, could I be my own boss? Or why would I be my own boss? The answer's simple, and there are many answers. The answers that I brought up to myself of why be my own boss was the time freedom that it allowed. Also, the money, the potential in making money. The sky's the limit when you work for yourself. There's no limit on what you can make. You can work as hard as you want for however much money that you want. Now, money doesn't bring happiness, I've always been told, but it sure does give us a lot of options. And I really like that statement. You get to do what you enjoy. You have a passion for what you do. And I think that's very important in the job field. If you don't enjoy what you do, don't do it, no matter how much money that you get from doing it. Because all you'll do is you'll just have a dead-end job. You come home from work at the end of the day and you hate it. So, as you start thinking about why you're in school, what you want to be, where you want to live, I hope that you all consider those few questions and then start a game plan. Make sure that you know what you want to do, and then go do it. Be your own boss. Do what you want.